Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The first station. Jesus is condemned to death. Jesus stood before Pontius Pilate alone. Jesus had only done good things in life, but it had to be decided that he had to be put to death. The procession was ready. The gates were opened. The soldiers led the way, and Jesus followed.
Jesus, you knew what it meant to stand alone in front of those who don't understand you. Walk with us. When we feel that we can't make a difference, help us to keep going.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The second station. Jesus takes up his cross. The people wanted to crucify Jesus, but Pontius Pilate did not want to. He tried everything he could think of to change the crowd's mind, but nothing worked. He washed his hands in front of the crowd, saying, "This is the righteous man." He gave Jesus to the soldiers to be crucified.
Jesus, you picked up your cross, even though you knew it would lead to your death. Walk with us when we feel scared and afraid. Help us to be brave. Give us the courage to speak out, to change the world, so that all our brothers and sisters can experience justice.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The third station, Jesus falls for the first time. The procession moved out of the city gate. Jesus was unsteady on his feet. The soldiers were pushing him. Jesus was tired and could hardly carry the cross, so he fell. The soldiers yanked him up. The procession moved on again. Jesus, you know how it feels to struggle and fall. Walk with us. Show us how to walk with others in peace.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The fourth station. Jesus meets his mother. Mary saw the procession moving through the streets. She saw Jesus and hurried to him. "You are suffering. You are in pain. Your mother is anxious. You are very brave to die for us. You are bleeding. Those cruel soldiers are mean, and they do not understand how amazing you are."
Jesus, you looked through the crowd and saw your mother's eyes. Her love gave you strength to carry on. Walk with us when we don't want to listen. Open our ears to hear. When it would be easier to look away, open our eyes to see.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The fifth station. Jesus is helped by Simon. Jesus, you must have been very confused. You were probably very tired, so the soldiers asked Simon to help carry the cross. Jesus, you know what it means to depend on someone and need their help. Walk with us when our friends need help. Show us how to listen carefully so that we can offer what they need.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The sixth station, Jesus and Veronica. Jesus, you have fallen a few times, but Veronica is pushing her way through the crowd with a cloth to get you. She wipes your face and says you must be in much pain. She realizes that you are hurt. The Romans pull her away. She is crying. Sixth prayer, walk with us. Jesus, you know how it feels to be hurt and to cry out in pain and fear. Walk with us. Show us how to walk together with others who need us.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The seventh station, Jesus falls for the second time. Jesus was becoming more and more tired and getting weaker. Jesus fell, but he struggled to get up. He tried until he made it to his feet. He moved on. Jesus, you stumbled and fell. You lost your strength and became tired, and yet you carried on. Walk with us when we find it hard to go on. Give us the strength we need to finish our work as well as we can and show and to show love to others.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The eighth station. Jesus speaks to the women. Jesus could hear the crying of the women in the crowd. He knew they were sad. He stopped and talked to them. Even at this terrible time, Jesus was not thinking of himself. He was thinking of all of us.
Jesus, you cared and spoke out. Even on the road to your death, you felt the suffering of others. Walk with us as we hear the stories of those who live in poverty. Give us courage to walk towards change.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The ninth station. Jesus falls the third time. Jesus continued walking, tired, in pain, and pushed by the soldiers. Jesus fell once more. They laughed at him. He got up, steadied himself, and walked the last few yards.
Jesus, you felt the darkness around you. You fell once more. Walk with us when we lose hope, when everything is too difficult. Show us how to reach out to each other for help.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The 10th station. Jesus is stripped of his garments. Jesus arrives at the place where he was to be crucified. The soldiers removed his clothes, tossing them in a heap. They didn't know what to do with his clothes, so they decided to throw a dice for them.
Jesus, you have been insulted and threatened badly. Walk with us when we see someone being treated unfairly. Give us the courage to stand up for them.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The 11th station. Jesus nailed to the cross. The soldiers drove nails through Jesus' hands and feet. They lifted up the cross and put it in place. Jesus was in a lot of pain. Jesus, in your pain, you cried out, "Walk with us to remember that everyone is equal and we should treat each other with respect."
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The 12th station. Jesus dies on the cross. As Pilate had ordered, a soldier placed above Jesus' head a notice reading, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." Mary and John stayed at the foot of the cross and prayed. The sky was dark. The two thieves that were crucified beside him talked to him. Looking at one of them, Jesus said, "I tell you the truth, today you will be with me in paradise." Jesus said, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Then he said, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." A few moments later, he said, "It is finished." He died. Please bow your heads and be silent.
Jesus, you know what it is like to feel alone, lost, and afraid. Walk with us and show us how to walk with others who live with fear, hunger, or sadness.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
13th station. Jesus is taken down from the cross. Sabbath was rapidly approaching, and the crucified ones had to be taken down before the beginning of the Sabbath celebrations. A soldier pierced the side of Jesus with his spear to be sure that he was dead. Mary stayed under the cross with her son. Joseph of Arimathea gave Jesus his own burial tomb. Jesus was gently removed from the cross. Mary held Jesus. She didn't want to give him up, but she had to. She kissed him and gave him to the gods. Jesus, you know what it means to have friends who risk their lives to take down your body from the cross. Walk with us and show us how to be friends and with those close to us and those far away. Teach us to see you in everybody, to be kind, to be loving, and to be strong like you.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
The 14th station, St. Mary's Ave. The 14th station, Jesus is laid in the tomb. John, Joseph, Nicodemus, and Mary went from the Calvary to the tomb. Joseph and John laid Jesus in the tomb. They then moved a big boulder in front of the entrance to block it.
Jesus, those who loved you felt sad and alone. Walk with us to help us be generous and gentle. Walk with us to be kind and loving. Walk with us to be brave and courageous. Open our eyes to see and open our ears to hear. Guide us in difficult times.
Because Christ died and rose, we can have the hope of heaven. You have called us by our name.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.